by Khosla and his colleagues, researchers, while working on these structures for many years, 10, 15 years, they observed that major observations of Khosla and his team was this is theory is there is not much kind of theory. He has given 4 or 5 observations, and how these observations could be executed in design of such structures so that structures are economical at the same time stable. So two major components were given by the Khosla, that Khosla has reduced the structure cost of the structure, so bringing economy to the structure, and second, the structure was stable for longer duration, longer time spans, say 30, 40, 50 years, as compared to the earlier theories. So what he observed in the existing structure, which he investigated, that the outer faces of the sheet pile are much more effective. Outer faces of the sheet piles are much more effective than the inner ones. And there are two outer sheet piles we have seen in the previous sketches of the weir. Yeah, so their observation was that when water seeps into, then the outer side of the pile is more effective compared to the inner portion. So this was observation, and this leads to his theory. The second observation is very important. The intermediate sheet pile, if smaller in length than the outer ones, the sheet pile which is there in between outer and inner intermediate sheet pile, if its length or depth is lesser than the outer sheet piles, then it's totally ineffective. If you introduce 100 sheet piles in between exterior two sheet piles which are having lesser depth, then they are of no use. I'll show you why it is. So these are two major observations. Then the third is that undermining of floor starts. Undermining, that is the bubbling and boiling of the soil at the end, exit end. So undermining of the floor starts from tail end. If hydraulic gradient at the exit is more than critical gradient, soil particles will move with water and leads to failure. So this was not introduced by the Bligh. Khosla has observed that the seepage failure is not at the upstream of the structure, but this failure starts where? At the downstream. So this observation was big. So from engineering point of view, I say if we are good observer, then we are definitely will become good engineers. So this observation that the failure is starting at the end, then that particular thing led to theory of exit gradient. We have to accept it that observation only led to a particular theory called the exit gradient, critical exit gradient, and safe exit gradient. So this is not a small. You will see that there is a small formula given, but it's a big thing because it prevented many structures from crumbling down or falling down or from the failure. Last, he observed that it is absolutely essential to have a reasonably deep vertical cutoff at the downstream end, but it was not there in Lenz theory and the Bligh's theory. They say put any cutoff or any pile or sheet pile or any pile anywhere, all are equally effective. But Khosla had observed that cutoff at the end is must. If you do not provide, then there is going to be a kind of boiling or this undermining is a very technical term. You keep in mind, undermining is nothing but hollowing of the formation or tunnel kind of formation taking place. I will show you the sketches. Cut off at the downstream end to prevent the undermining. So this is what the observations. Khosla theory being introduced by after the observation, and let's go ahead with these observations. So this in books all are written that these are Khosla's theory. These were the strong observation by the Khosla made for the design. Like now, what he started observation into analysis part. this slide deals with that how he has analyzed his observation to arrive at the design. So Khosla and his associate carried out further research to find out a solution to the problem of subsurface flow and provided a solution, and that solution is well known world over as Khosla's theory. Considered the flow pattern below the impervious base impervious base of hydraulic structure on pervious foundation to find out the distribution of uplift pressure. So uplift pressure we have seen just that in the Blig they have taken W into H. So that was the directly proportionate to the head upstream. All things were taken, but here pressure distribution has been taken. In the previous lecture, I also given you the cosine distribution of the pressure, uplift pressure, whereas onto the first half of the floor is experiencing lesser uplift pressure, and the remaining half is experiencing more pressure. That has also been demonstrated by the Khosla. But today we are looking at a different angle of analysis from the Khosla. So what it says that foundation to find the distribution of uplift pressure on the base of the structure and also the exit gradient, as Khosla has considered a gradient at the exit as very important factor for the failure of the structures on permeable foundation. So what he has considered the flow pattern, and flow pattern you have studied in the fluid mechanics subject. So let's have a look at the flow pattern and that how he has explained the theory. In Blig, he said that water creeps, the first bullet, that water creeps along the base of the structure. But the observation of Khosla was that it is not like that. What he has observed, this important statement, that this steady seepage which takes from upstream to downstream through the formation, this steady seepage in vertical plane for a homogeneous soil. Here, soil is assumed as homogeneous, can be expressed by Laplacian equation. This Laplace equation, he has demonstrated that this Laplace equation is the solution for the flow which is taking place through the formation. And this, if we simplify, then would result in a flow net. Flow net, what is flow net? We'll see in the next slide. But let's understand this Laplace equation. What is the phi function is? Phi is the flow potential, that potential of water to flow, or the residual head you can say. So phi is a flow potential. It can be termed as KH. Very important, you read here that flow potential is nothing but KH. H is the head available at that junction, at that point, and K is the coefficient of permeability of soil as defined by the Darcy's law. This Darcy's law is now being introduced here, which we have seen in the fluid mechanics subject, that Darcy's law through this soil media, where we have done a experiment and find out the value of K, coefficient of permeability of the soil. Generally, it comes out as 1 meter per second for the sample which is kept in the laboratory. But the thing is that whatever you do in the soil formation, whenever you analyze the flow through Laplacian equation or any other equation, most of the time the flow is described through this Darcy's equation. So Darcy is considered as the father figure of flow through the subsoil media, or how the situation is changing in the foundation zone. So Darcy's equation, you might be remembering that we define V is equal to Ki, velocity of the flow taking place through the media, is equal to K, that is permeability, into I is equal to H upon L. So same equation is being brought into this Laplacian equation transformation through a function phi, flow potential. So this is the application of science directly into the design of our structures. So whatever you studied science now being executed in terms of set design. So phi this flow potential and K is the Darcy's coefficient or permeability, you can say. If we solve this Laplacian equation, then pictorial or the graphical result is of the Laplace equation is this, that we get two set of lines. This Laplace equation represent two set of lines. One is like this continuous line emerging, continuous line emerging from here, from the base or the river bed, and they are going in the direction here and reaching to the downstream side of the floor here. So these are considered as streamlines and the streamlines, and these lines perpendicular to these streamlines are called equipotential line. So this is the first equipotential line AB. If we measure here the potential, then potential at any junction of this line AB would be equal here also, here also, here also, and throughout the line AB. So equipotential line means a line, if you insert piezometric tube, then water waves or fluid would rise to the same level as it is demonstrated here. This is an equipotential line. And if we are inserting piezometry into the formation here, then all piezometric tubes would have water to the same level, and this head is represented. This head, ideally, to protect this soil, should not be there more than the safe exit gradient. If this H is more here than the safe exit gradient, it should be ideally be 0. There should not be any head available here. If available, it should be in safe limit. So this demonstrates the theory of exit gradient also. Exit gradient will define again in terms of equation in next few slides, but here this will give you a kind of clear picture that how exit gradient H would be the meaningful term. Here H is the head upstream of the weir. This is downstream H1 because this floor is depressed compared to this. This floor is at this level and this is a little depressed than this. And this is a kind of weir. It's a combination of simple vertical type of weir and a glacis type of weir, because this this floor is sloping onto the downstream side, and we are having here the formation, compacted formation. And there are two piles inserted here, concrete piles, one here and second here. And this water entering here streamline, first streamline shown here, is just touching the corner of this sheet pile and going. Now, earlier, observe this observation you should bring to your notice, that this streamline does not follow. This water is not creeping, like going here and then going, adhering to this base. It is not moving. Water is not moving. Does not move like this. Water does not go like this. No, no. And if we assume like this, then there is a longer flow path. This total length of the flow, LT, is too much. But instead, this length is as per Laplace equation, and this is how this is very much straight. Now, if you insert a pile here, if you are with me, then look at that. If I insert a pile here or somewhere here of this depth, then that pile won't influence the streamline pattern at all. So that won't be effective in reduction of head at the exit. So this is effective, and definitely this is effective. Rather, this should be deeper than the initial pile inserted. And this is the representation of flow as per the Khosla, and Khosla has really solved this equation for the different flow taking place for different structures. We are here just understanding this flow in a simplified manner, and we'll take a further simplification to understand the calculation. Now, this Khosla's theory, the previous weir was having the different floor depth and a structure very complicated. We are having two piles up and downstream of it, and now look at this structure. This structure is having a flat floor, thickness is continuously same, and only this structure created, and we understand the analysis of first class theory. Now the flow is emerging, the seepage flow is starting from this level and entering into here this way and going out and emerging out of the soil formation at the exit. So this kind of flow is taking place because here the whole formation is saturated, and because of this extra head, it means force exerted by this water here lead to this saturated water to move out or put the pressure onto the soil media, and water is oozing out onto the other side. Now all these are streamlines, which are going here. Now force of this is being shown here, this force. This force it would be the tangential to this line. So here, if you divide the force here, then this is one portion and the weight of the water would be here. And likewise, if you look at every junction, then this is going like this. This is weight of soil, and this is the force exerted by the flowing fluid. This is the weight of soil, submerged soil, and this is the force. So direction of force is here, and it is turning up. It is turning up. Till this point, the direction of force was down, and there was no risk for this soil to come out, to become like boiling. But as soon as it crosses this middle part almost, then this direction of force is going up, and this force will become vertical up here, and that will lead to failure or the boiling of the soil at this junction. So this we need to understand here, that streamlines are drawn here in the simplified view, and this is emerging and coming out here, and there is no influence of the piles upstream or downstream. This is a simplified view just to understand that how flow takes place beneath the floor or beneath the apron. Just you read out to understand, just take a note of all these points. These are important points, so I just kept onto the slide. For soil grain to remain stable, the upward component of that force should be counterbalanced by the submerged weight of the soil grain. So this I was discussing in the laboratory last time in the IS code. This detailed Khoslas theory is given in the IS code 6966, so that you could also refer. And this force has the maximum disturbing tendency at the exit end, because the direction of this force at the exit point is vertically upward and hence gone up. These are 2-3 more points. Just read it. I have already explained, but it will give you more deeper view with the terms exactly mentioned. Let's look at this critical exit gradient. Definitions I have already defined it 2-3 times. Just for the sake of word-to-word meaning of this exit gradient, you could read in your mind that what the bullets are there. So the main thing is that exit gradient, the submerged weight of the soil should counterbalance the upward force. So that is what is the meaning. The submerged weight WS of a unit volume of soil is given as this. How? Gamma W 1 minus S, SS minus 1, whereas this is unit weight of the water, when many times written as only W small w, and 1 minus NN is the porosity of the soil material that you have seen already in the soil mechanics. SS is the specific gravity of soil particle. SS is the specific gravity of the soil particle. Last time we have seen the specific gravity of the concrete material. Now this is the soil particle specific gravity. So be careful in taking this. So this will give you the submerged weight, and in critical condition, this should be equal to the Fs. This is critical. This will give you the gradient. That this submerged weight gamma W or only W 1 minus N SS minus 1. This submerged weight of the soil, because formation is submerged, should be in critical condition. It should be equal to the force upward disturbing force. You can say up this upward force by the water. The last you could see here, the F force pressure gradient at that point, dP by dL. Pressure gradient, HGL we have seen, hydraulic gradient line. The similar is here, that dP by dL, and this can be written in terms of the pressure in terms of gamma W dH by dL. So this is again head. This is again head. This P is pressure is nothing but WH that I have shown you last time. So this is just a gamma is new notation here, that we have taken W for the unit weight of water. So don't get confused. This is in civil engineering, many times we are confused with signs left or right, and many times with the unit weight. So this is gamma W is the unit weight of water. Now, this is very interesting now. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today I just give you a brief of the Khosla, how he has calculated the things. Khosla's method of independent variables, and then he has given the corrections. That when we calculate pressure at the different junction, this ultimately what we are interested, as we have seen Blake's theory, that we are interested in finding the length and thickness of floor. Now the thing is that we are not computing the forces as per the requirement, and our design is becoming uneconomical and unstable. The two things if happen, then our investment in the project becomes dull and of no use in short period. You might be happy to execute some project, and that is there for say 5-10 years, but in these large projects of national importance, we assume that our project would be there for at least 2-3 generations, and it would be serving the nation for like 50-100 years or like that. Just for a second. Sorry. Okay. So this theory by the Khosla was like a little complicated. I go back to the sketches given here to explain you the method of independent variables. Now this is sketch. If we look at, then it give kind of a TC or a kind of a headache that how will we understand the design to look at. So our intention is not to have a complicated analysis. Our main objective is to understand this structure and arrive at a kind of analysis which could lead to easy design, at the same time the perfect design. So what he has done, that this theory becoming so much kind of complicated, and analysis and solutions were not available. Of the second order differential equation, solutions are not directly available, and even the engineers could not do always the analysis of such. So what he has done, he has broken this structure into parts. This structure has been done into parts. Like he has broken into parts. Like first structure, he has taken this part, that a straight floor with a negligible thickness. He has assumed this thickness is not there. So in last the Blix theory, we have reduced the thickness to arrive at the final thickness of the floor. So in the first, he has assumed that this thickness is not there, and this is a cutoff or a pile at the upstream. And also there is no thickness and there is a pile either on the upstream or onto the downstream, or both pile exist but the floor thickness is not there. Then in the second variable he has taken as there is a pile, intermediate pile here. In this case there is no intermediate pile, but he in his analysis and then calculation assumed there is an intermediate pile here, and he assumed that when we are analyzing this upstream pile or downstream pile or intermediate pile, then we are analyzing them separately. Say we cut this structure here and we are analyzing this much only, this variable only, or the downstream variable only, or intermediate variable only. The third variable, this he has considered one only, the front pile and the rear pile, or upstream or downstream pile, and second water intermediate pile with the negligible thickness of the floor. And the third was that he has introduced thickness of the floor. He has brought thickness of the floor into the picture and then analyzed the whole floor. So there was three variables he has taken: upstream or downstream pile analysis is separate variable, then intermediate pile, and then the third variable was the thickness of the floor. Now, since we are doing separate analysis, this pile would have influence on the intermediate pile some way, in some way. Say if this pile is not there, then the streamline would start somewhere here and would directly touch this edge and go down. So what is the influence of this pile on to the intermediate pile? And also because of thickness, what is the influence on to this pile? So first he split this structure into independent variables. Variables are nothing here, component parts of this structure. Variables, you don't get misunderstood variables of the equation, like 2 variable equation, 3 variable equation, 1 variable equation. No, they are not equations. They are component part of the structure. The big structure, complicated structure, cut into few simple structural components, and then he analyzed. Then after analyze, all these components which have been analyzed separately need to bring together, need to be stitched up, So then we need to apply the correction. So he has applied the corrections. First, he has designed the independent variables of the structure, component part of the structure, and then he combined them. He then integrated all the 3-4 variables which he has split earlier. Now, while stitching together, he applied corrections for the influence of one variable onto the other. So this theory of independent variable, here after the exit gradient, what it says that the theory will look into next lecture. Today I have only explained the concept, that how he has given thought of analyzing this complicated structure. This complicated structure means what? Even today, the direct solution of Laplacian equation, if you do, it takes long time. Say many weeks, months to solve a whole structure. So rather divide it and analyze the structure with simple forces acting on it. So first structure is taken this, first means this is the front upstream pile. Upstream pile, this is downstream pile, then the intermediate pile, and the third case is the thickness he has considered. And then he has brought the corrections. So corrections and theory of this. Moreover, he has created many graphs and curves to directly with reference to this D by B ratios. He has come out with curves so that this design can become easy, and those curves are available in our IS code. both IS code you will find is